Hi guys, welcome to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to talk you through a very common topic. It comes up a lot in my lessons, and it is how we use the floor. Now, I did one of these videos a couple of years ago when I was in my garden during lockdown, but I thought I'd do another one, updated. I've got BODITRAK up and running, so you're going to see some pressure traces on the screen, and I can talk you through some feelings I have in the swing and some feelings which I think are that have a bit of a misconception as to how you use the ground, and it is something which comes up frequently because I feel that if you use the ground effectively, you can rotate better, you can create more clubhead speed, and you can hit the ball, more importantly, more consistently. I think a big misconception is this thought that we have to shift weight as opposed to shifting pressure. And I think one key thought I always have is that force precedes motion. So if I want to jump, for example, if I want to jump myself to the left, I would have to push off of the opposite foot. So if I bring my screen recording up on now, if I want to move my mass to the left, I would have to push off of my right foot to get it there. Okay? If you want to jump your furthest to the left, it'd be very difficult to do that off your left foot. Okay? It'd be the most effective way to do it would be to push off the opposite. And that's a very key thing to remember, that everything is always the opposite. So whichever direction we push through the ground, our body will have the opposite reaction. So there's three main types of ground forces. You've got vertical forces, which are kind of like a down and an up. So we push down into the floor, the ground pushes back up at us. So I would push down and then jump. Okay, that would be a vertical force. And the more pressure I can apply into the ground, I will have the equal and opposite reaction as a jump. So the more pressure you can apply to the ground, the higher you are going to be able to jump. The second one is a lateral force. So again, if I wanted to jump to my left, I'd have to push off of my right foot. So again, we can see in the screen now I have lateral forces where I'm pushing to the right and to the left. Okay, and you can see that tracer is moving from my right foot to my left foot because I'm pushing my mass across and I'm pushing my mass back. Okay, so we have forces which push us in a lateral sense. And finally, and the one which people are most interested in, is a rotational force. So that's almost a mixture of all three, but now as we look on the screen, we're going to see the pressure move from our toe and heel. So I've got 100% on my right heel, 100% on my left toe, to then toe and heel. Again, moving towards 100% of my left heel and 100% of my right toe. They are rotational forces. So a golf swing is essentially a mixture of all three of those forces. Okay? Some people will have too much of one, not enough of the other. Some people will have just very quiet ground forces. Generally, the more ground force you can apply, the faster and more able your body will be to rotate and move. I'm going to hit a couple of shots. I'm going to show you and talk you through my ground forces, and I'll show you what I'm good at, what I need a little bit of work on. But it's just a chance for you to show that maybe the things we've been told about shifting weight and if you have lateral slide, if you have a lack of rotation, it will really, really help. So I'll hit a couple of shots and then we'll go through the data. Okay, that was a pretty good swing. So you see that pressure trace working back and through. Just going to talk you through it a little bit slower. So in this bottom left-hand box, you've got the right toe, right heel, left toe, left heel, and obviously right foot is on the right, left foot is on the left. And as the club comes back, you're going to see the pressure trace work towards my trail foot, even though the camera is the opposite way around. But you see the pressure go 60-40 into that trail foot fairly early, and it already starts to bring up a heat signature. Moving on to that right heel, trying to get that trail hip around. This is always a tough spot for me. But you can see there I do it fairly good. 60-40, I'll take that. Would hopefully get about 70. Fleetingly there for a second, and then the pressure starts to transfer left. Now this is where you see it drive into the left toe. There's an orange line on the right hand side you can see is the heel toe line. So I've driven into the toe and I'm about to push back towards my heel, which is where you start to see the orange line go below the center line. So now you see I push this lead hit back by pushing off of the toe
and moving the pressure towards my left heel. So I'm 90% front foot, 50, 70% left heel, lead heel. And now you're going to start to see the pressure trace work back towards the middle. So as this club is coming through, I'm recentering my weight or my pressure. So I'm starting to resist the weight of that club coming through by driving through that left heel. You can see the heat signature really doing its thing. And I'm pushing my pressure back towards 75-25 at impact. So I'm not 100% of my weight on my left foot. I am 75% of my pressure on my lead foot. And as that club starts to come through, we work back a little bit more. I think I get to about late 60s, maybe early 70s. So you can really see that right toe, left heel working. So huge rotational force. The heat signature in the top right hand box and the bottom left hand box. And as this club comes through, we are driving the pressure slightly more even in the feet. But certainly 91% of my pressure on my lead foot is on my lead heel, not my lead toe. So anybody that causes a heel strike, this might be something you want to look at. And as the club comes through, we start to recenter, and we can see we finish in a nice balanced finish.
So my general point there was that actually to shift weight, we have to shift pressure. But shifting pressure for me is a little more consistent than trying to shift weight. So shifting weight is shifting mass, right? I think we all understand that, you know, center of your chest, center of your pelvis. And shifting these two masses, if you just think about shifting weight, can cause quite an excessive amount of lateral movement. But actually, when you start trying to feel as if you shift pressure, it makes it much, much easier to control where the pressure goes in your feet and therefore where the weight goes, okay? And trying to keep yourself more centered is a really easy way to start striking the ball a lot more consistently. Now, what you'll see in mine there, and I tend to have more of a fade pattern. We see the pressure go towards my toe and then quite aggressively towards my heel. That's my body rotating, okay? Remember, that's rotational force. You will see some lateral forces because quite a lot of people look at my videos and they think, oh, he must have a lot of weight on his front foot. But actually, when you look in the video, I get up to 60, 70% pressure on my trail foot. So as this club is coming away, I'm actually kind of unweighting this lead foot and I'm pushing more through my trail foot than I am my lead foot, okay? As I get into transition, up to the top of the swing and start to the back downswing, that's when you'll see this pressure really drive into the front foot, push into the toe, and then drive back into the heel. Once you start getting the feeling that, you're essentially resisting the weight of the golf club. I'm not trying to get pulled with the club. I'm trying to actually resist it. Okay, so we're trying to go against where the club is going. And it generally means you're going to start to see your legs work a lot harder. And that's what I meant at the beginning when I said, we want to try and give you a swing feeling, not lots of swing thoughts. And this ground force reaction, it sounds complicated, but it's really not when you get a feel for it, because you start to realize that the ground forces create movement. So rather than being there trying to think, okay, so I've got to try and get my hips to 45, either on the way back or on the way through, I've got to try and get my hips there, then I've got to try and get my shoulders open. When you work on the ground, okay, it's coincidental that the body starts to react to that. So as you start to try and shift the pressure from the toe to the heel, you will start to feel your whole body start to turn more. And it's a feeling, it's an overall motion, it's not a series of movements, or it's not a series of positions, okay? It's an overall sequencing, okay? It's an overall sequencing. So what I want you to do, next time you go and practice, is watch this a couple of times so you start to understand where you should try and feel the pressure in the foot. And just to reiterate, you're going to feel as if, as you go back, the pressure goes into your right heel and left toe, because that's going to help your pelvis turn to the right. And then as you come down, you're going to press into that left toe, so there's a little bit of lateral across to that left foot, but then you're going to feel as if you push from toe to heel, and also push and resist the weight of the club passing. Okay, so it will go from feeling as if you have lots of lateral movement to then your legs are creating the stable base for you to resist that lateral movement. Okay, it'll feel as if the swing's a lot more consistent and should hopefully get you striking the ball pretty good in a fairly short space of time. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments box below. If you liked it, hit the like button. And as always, if you want to subscribe to the channel, there is plenty more content like this coming and whole vlogs once the weather clears up a bit. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.